bakal ngebahas soal how to create effective marketing ad bareng sama Orhun Mert Simek dari Ad. Oke, biar nggak lama-lama, langsung aku serahkan ke Kang Wafi. Monggo, Kang, silakan.
Okay, hello everyone. Yeah, Mert is already here, and yeah, maybe I will talk a bit about Mert background story, right? So, Mert, this like the GAMESEED team. We are already on the incubation. You are like the 9th trainer. We have like 14, and usually we have like 30 people, but we always start at the schedule, so we don't punish the one who comes late. Like we have to appreciate the one who comes on time, right? Yeah, also to appreciate the speaker who also come on time, right? Okay, so yeah, for everyone, we have already learned about metrics analytics in previously. We also learned about the user acquisition. We also heard about the monetization a bit. And today we will discuss with Mert, learn about Mert about the creative ads, right? Because one of the lessons we heard from user acquisition part is that creative ads directly impacts the performance of your marketing, right? So before the session start, maybe I will give a bit intro about Mert. So a year ago, Google sent me and Fadil to Turkey, and it's the first time I met Mert. And in Turkey, the session in Turkey is what inspires me to create the GAMESEED, which is more focused on the business. And a lot of the concept and the direction of the program is also based on what I experienced in Turkey, and especially during the session with Mert, when Mert shared his experience. And then I met Mert again in GDC, and we talked more deeply, right, about the hyper casual marketing, etc. And it really blows my mind, right, about the complexity at all. Hopefully, everybody here and the rest of the team will follow to join the session. Will also learn a lot from Mert because he's here. Then you can ask a lot of question to him. Normally, just raise hands or ask your question in chat. Okay, yeah. Okay, the session is yours, Mert. Yeah. You can also introduce yourself, so people can understand it. Okay. Thank you for coming here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I guess I can share my screen, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Let me check it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's all visible, right?
Yes, of course.
Great, perfect. So again, thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to make a presentation to all you guys. As Wafi mentioned, my topic that I will try to explain to you is effective ads to bring users to your amazing game, because I'm sure you have great games. You can develop and design awesome games, but it's always hard to bring users and like make money from games. What I believe is, I don't say it's easy, but it's easier to make a game than getting a revenue or like getting a profit from a game. So let's start it. First of all, I will start with who am I, a brief introduction. My name is Orhun Mert, but you can call me Mert, it's easier. I have graduated from Hacettepe University from Turkey as a from computer science. I am co-founder and CMO of Apps. Our company's name is really easy to remember. You will not forget it, I'm sure. And I have started my career as an Android developer. Then I became an iOS developer, and now I'm working on both marketing and monetization side. So our agenda is we will first start with the definition of marketing. It will be a brief introduction, and then we will talk about why do we need better creatives, because obviously we do. And then we will talk about the maths behind it, because I believe it's really important to understand the reality behind behind it to make it better. And then I will try to explain about some points of how to find the best creatives or better creatives. Then I will share some tips and tricks, and I hope I will be useful for your journey, then we will go to the Q&A session. So what is marketing? It's a really brief description that says the activity or business of promoting and selling products or services, including market research and advertising. So when I read this, I imagine an environment like this. It's really cool, you know, like there are some analysis, trends, reports, people are talking to each other on how we can promote our product, etc. But for hyper casual and hybrid casual, it more looks like this. So you burn money and then expect to get more of that, more of them. So this is my daily routine, like burning dollars. So it's kind of fun and also a bit stressful, to be honest. But yeah, this is it. So why do you need better creatives? I'm not sure if the sound will be heard. I will play some videos, but even you don't hear any voice. It doesn't matter. It's okay without sound as well. So these are two creatives that we did for our game Fashion Battle. Both creatives are for that title. So let's start with the first one. So this is the first one, and the second one. Yeah, you saw two examples of our creatives. The left one took, I believe, 1 or 2 hours to produce, and the second one with the the preparation of equipment or things like that, it took around 2 or 3 days to prepare this video. Do you have any guess about which one is performing better?
The right one.
Yeah, I believe that one as well, but truth is not like that. So I will explain a bit more about the IPM metrics later, but I believe most of us know about the CTR. It's click-through rate, means how many users that clicked per they see the ad. So the left one, it took only like 1 or 2 hours, and it has more than 5% click-through rate. But the right one, it took a few days to produce, and its click-through rate was only 0.17%. So it was really, really a bad creative. But we all think like the right one is better because it looks better. It's like there are some real people in it. Actually, this was our office and our sofa that we shoot in our office. We had like green screen lights. It was really fun to shoot, to be honest. But you know, it didn't work. So again, why do we need better creatives? So there's a user in the space of internet that you want them to download your game, right? You want them to play your game. at the exact moment, they're most probably playing another game, or they're scrolling through their favorite social media, like maybe Instagram or TikTok. So they're busy with something else. I know it's not like it's not a work, so it's a fun thing that they are playing games or scrolling through social media, but still they have something to do other than playing your game. Then they see your ad. Now this is time for you to convince the user to play your game. You have very limited time because you're interrupting their experience. They want to close the ad because they want to like go back to their game or their social media. So you have really limited time, and you also have really limited attention from the user because they didn't want to see your ads. No one wants to see ads, right? So you have a really limited attention. But if your creative is good and attractive, then they will click to your ad, and eventually they will go to your store page. Then if they like what they see in store page as well, they will download it, which means dollars for you. You will earn money from them. But if your creative is not good enough, is not attractive enough for the user, they will do nothing. They will do whatever they were doing at the moment. So you will not get revenue, or not, you will not get that user for your game. So I know in the user acquisition part, there are like lots of techniques to bring users to your game, but at the end of the process, there is only a user and your creative. So this is the decision time for the user to download your game or not. So creatives are really, really important on that matter. You have to show your best creatives to these users to like bring them to your game. So now, as I mentioned, it's really important to understand the mathematics behind it, how these ads are working, how your creatives are working in this thing. So let's say there is a user and there is an opportunity to show an ad to a user. Let's say they were playing a game and they click to some rewarded video button, and then they will see an ad from another games. So it's not only you. There are other publishers, there are other games that they are trying to show their ads to that user as well. So you need to compete with them somehow. The competition is being with CPM value, which means cost per mile, and which also means that cost per 1,000 impression. So it's actually the bidding value that the auction happening. So let's say there are 5 different games that trying to show their ads to that specific user. One of them is offering $10 CPM, the other 11, 9, 7, and there is a $15 CPM creative. Obviously, the $15 one will win this auction because it's paying the most money to the system. So, which means this user will see only this ad, not the other ads. So that makes us think about we need higher CPMs for our creatives to like increase our chance to get that impression, because if you have higher CPM, that means you will have more chance to like get the impression or win that auction. More impression mean actually more downloads, because it's correlated with that, and more downloads obviously mean more dollars. So we need to increase our CPM of our ads, of our creatives. This is the mathematics behind it. So it's good, but how we can do it? So I have explained the meaning of CPM, and it's calculated like this: cost multiplied by 1,000 divided by impression. This is okay. And I gave an information about IPM as well at the beginning of the presentation. This means installs per mile, which is really similar to CPM, and it's calculated like install multiplied by 1,000 divided by impression. And I believe all of us know about CPI. It's really easy, cost per install. So this is our cost per a single install. It looks like something at the moment, but let me help you a bit to see the picture. If you made an equation like this, it works. Like in the right side of the equation, the install values are removing each other, and which makes us see that CPM is equal IPM multiplied by CPI. So this is the mathematics of how CPM calculated. So we talk about it. We need to increase our CPM, and there is two ways to increase the CPM. First, you can increase your CPI bit. Actually, it makes your dollars fly because this means that you will pay more money for a single user, and it will affect your profitability. You don't want to give a user $2 if you can bring them with $1, for example. It's I don't prefer this way because it's an expensive way to increase your CPM. The other one is increasing your IPM, which is actually not free because you will be working on creatives to increase your IPM. So you will spend money or time to create better creatives, but still it will be cheaper than increasing your CPI bits. So now how we can increase the IPM? We already know how IPM is calculated. Now there is CTR, which is also easy, click per impression, meaning is click-through rate. And we also have conversion rate of your store page, which we can calculate it by dividing install divided by click. It gives us the conversion rate of your store page. So again, this is the equation that we have found. IPM equals CTR multiplied by conversion rate and multiplied by 1,000. So here's the way to increase your IPM. You can try to make more attractive creatives to increase CTR, or you can make some adjustments to your store page to increase conversion rate. The second part, increasing the conversion rate, is something you always try to do because it will affect your organic installs as well. And you need to have a really strong store page. Since our topic is about creatives, we will focus on increasing the CTR metric. So increasing CTR means like you can increase your CTR of your creatives by creating more attractive creatives, because when a user sees your ad, you need to give them a reason to click to your ad, because this is the first time, this is the first step of their journey to your app, to your game. But there is also an important point about the CTR. You should always be aware of, and you should be always watching, keeping an eye on these metrics, because you may develop a creative that tricks user. Like you can trick user by adding fake buttons to the video, your creative, like a fake button, it will not work because it's a video, but user will try to press the button. This will increase your CTR for sure, because they will be tricked to click to your ad, but that will also decrease your conversion rate, because they will be doing this unintentionally, like clicking to your ad. So at the end of the day, the important thing is your IPM. So increasing CTR should increase your IPM, but you should also be aware of the conversion rate metric as well. I'm sure you already seen lots of creatives like that, like the pull the pin creatives. The game is like completely different, but pull the pin is really attractive. So you click to that ad, but when you go to their store page, you see that this game is completely different. So they have higher CTR, but they will have lower conversion rate, because you feel like you just got tricked, you just got fooled. So you will just like close the page and do whatever you are doing. So you should really careful about this CTR and conversion rate. So how you can find the best creative? I know this is really easy to say, but it's also really hard to do. But you need to try as many as possible, different creative ideas for your game. Only you know your game. No one else can have the equal information about your game. So you know your game, you know how to promote your game, because you know what parts of game are fun and what parts of game are not fun. So you should always try these fun parts to show people with creating some creatives. So you need to try as much as possible. Here I will again ask a question. Do you have any guess about how many creatives that we have tried in the last 1 year? I know, Wafi, you like this metric, but it's increased. So make your guess.
Let's say one day, one idea, 365.
Mm-hmm. Wafi, do you have?
Good guess, good guess.
I'm revealing
Yeah.
So we have tried more than 4,000 creatives for the last year.
Twice the number.
I know it's too much. And I'm sure it will be, if we have a chance to talk next year, I'm sure I will tell you a bigger number than this. And our creative team is 3 people, and like their main job is working on creatives for our ads, and they have created 4,300 different creatives in the last year. So by saying try as many as possible creatives, I mean it. So you need to try lots of creatives, but this is for actually hyper casual and hybrid casual games. So since our creatives are a bit simple to create, so it's not that hard to achieve these numbers. But if you have, for example, a mid-core game or AAA game, for sure the numbers will be lower than that. So still try your best to create most creative ideas. You should also analyze every creative of yours. By analyzing, I mean if you have a different team that works on creatives like ours, you also need to watch every ads that they have created and understand what's happening in that creative. So you may find that, for example, using blue background on your creatives makes your creatives more successful. It may be some finding that you can find. So by this analysis, you know that, okay, if I use a blue background with my new creatives, it will increase my success chance. So also there will be the opposite way of this as well. Like you may see using the X character in your creatives might be really bad for you. So you should stop using that character as well. This analysis includes both the inside of the creative and also the metrics as well. So you should always be cautious about the metrics that you see with your creatives. By the metrics, as now you know, it's CTR, IPM, conversion rate. You should always keep an eye on these metrics. And actually, this is how our creative process works. If we have a new game, we start by working on different creatives at once. Like we are developing, let's say, hundreds of creatives at once. And then we are analyzing these creatives results to understand what's working and what's not working. And if we find a good creative with high IPM, then we will work on that creative specifically, because sometimes a small change might create a big impact. I can give the same example as well. If we find a good creative with high IPM, we change the background, only the background, and test again. And after that, we change the character only, and then we test it again, like changing the environment and testing again. So you should always change one thing and test it again to see if it's better or not. So this is how our creative process is at the moment. The best part, again, this is mostly for hyper and hybrid casual. You don't need too much things. You remember the example that I gave you at the beginning. Only 1 or 2 hours of like gameplay recording can be really useful. You don't need to spend lots of money, lots of time, because the thing is, you are trying to show your game to people outside. So the easiest way to show your game to people, to show them your gameplay, actually. So you don't need lots of things. You can grab your phone and start screen recording, and then like you can use these creatives for sure. So you don't need too much things at the beginning. Now a few tips and tricks. Maybe you have heard about human element. This means, for example, adding a real human hand image as a pointer, like when selecting some options, you can do it by a real hand, and this is a human element. And also you can add some human avatars into the corner of your creative. Also, even a voiceover can be a human element as well. The studies says that if you add human element to your advertisement, it will bond with the watcher, with the user, and they will more likely to click to your ads. So we always try this technique in our creatives. So you can do this as well, and it's again it's easy. You can just find the PNG a hand PNG, and then you can just move that over your creative. Also, there are some free services to add voiceover to your game, or even an AI generated little heads in the corner of your creatives. So this is really worth to try. User generated content, shortly UGC. If you haven't heard this yet, you will hear about this a lot in the future, because this is now the hype. This means actually our that creative that I showed you. This is completely they look like TV commercials. You are shooting with real people in the real world, and this is called user-generated content. This is not always working, as you know now. Sometimes it fails, and this is also really expensive to create such a creative, because you need equipments, you need actors, you need a studio to shoot these videos, and editing these videos or post-production of these videos taking longer time than a simple gameplay, obviously. So I would suggest you to have an idea about UGC, but this is not something that you should try in the beginning of your game marketing. It should be a later stage thing to think about it. Seasonal content, which we really like. Let's say like Chinese New Year, 4th of July for the US, and Christmas, Black Friday. These seasons are really really important days, because in these days people spend more time with their phones, with their games, or people will be more keen to spend money in games. So you always want to bring users in these seasons to your game. So for this purpose, you can try some seasonal content. Let's say for Christmas season, you can work on some like Santa Claus creatives, or for Chinese New Year, you can work on this specific culture as well. Or let's say for Muslim countries, you can always think about the, for example, the sacrifice feast. You can create some creatives for that season as well. But you should also keep in mind that these seasons are they last like maybe 1 or 2 weeks. So after the 2 weeks, these creatives will not work anymore, because it's not Christmas anymore, or it's not sacrifice feast anymore. So you shouldn't spend too much money or too much time to create these creatives. But it's also worth to work on these types of content. And if you work on a seasonal creative, that you will be able to use it in next year, for example, like independent from the year, then it's a good investment, because you will create a Christmas ad for once, and then you will be able to use it next year and the year after. So it shouldn't be year dependent if you have a limited resource. As I mentioned, basic gameplay is the key. Just show your game, because if your game is good, then people will will download it and will play it. So this is also an easy way to understand if the people will like your game or not. Because if you show the users some fancy creatives with like huge budgets, then you will not be able to see if they will like your game really or not. So using base gameplay also helps you on that matter as well, to understand if your game is really good or not. And this is really easy to do, actually. Fail scenario. Actually, this is the reason of the hyper casual boom. We always show users a fail gameplay with the ads, and people that seeing that creative with a fail in it, I believe they being triggered, and they think about like, you cannot do anything, I can do it better than you, so I will download the game and show you that how good am I in your game. So when I check the comments on Facebook or Instagram with these types of creatives, people are swearing to us, saying, "Oh, you are such an idiot, you cannot play a game. I will do better than that." So this makes people to click to your ads or to play your game more. So you should always try some fail scenarios with your creatives. And your creatives should be annoying. The same reason with the fail scenario as well. If you remember the first creative that was successful in our case, it was its topic was our character will be going to a marriage proposal, but she was wearing PJs, and she was not beautiful enough for that such event. So this was annoying the people. Like, people thinks about it, who on the earth will go to a proposal with that cloth, with that dress? So it's annoying people. Or you can like do some other things to annoy you players as well, but always you should be aware of the policy and the policy of ad networks and store pages. You shouldn't be violating them. So it's kind of cautious thing to do such videos. And the last thing, but not least, there is something called creative fatigue. I'm not sure if you have heard this before. Let's say you found the best creative that you can ever find. It has amazing IPM, its CTR is really high, and you might think about it, okay, now I am done, I will not work on any creatives anymore. But it's not the thing. These creatives has fatigue, which means it might take a few days, a few weeks, or maybe at most a few months. After that, the metrics will be going down. So let's say if you find a creative with 30 IPM, it will go with 30 IPM for a time, and then it will be decreasing from day by day. And you will see after maybe 3 weeks, the IPM is only 10. So this means that people are not reacting your creative anymore. So you need to change your creative. And that means you need to always work on creatives. This is not a single time job. This is always live, and you need to keep it live. So you need to work on new creatives, even if you have the best creative you have before. So, and you also always check your metrics to see if one of your creative is facing a fatigue. If your metrics are going down, you should immediately change that creative. So that's all from my side. You can reach me through Twitter with this handle. Also, I forgot to add my email address to here, but it's mert@apps.com.tr. It's pretty easy. So you can always contact me via email as well. So if you have questions, please send them.
Okay, thank you, Mert, for the session. Yeah, okay, for everyone who want to ask, you can chat or you can ask question. I think one of the yeah, but I will start the question also. When you are saying about the IPM, right? So, and you are saying about the testing process. What is the typical testing process, Mert, that you do? Like, so I think a lot of people here, some of the team here already have marketing background, but most of them are like the indie developer. They are new and they still have no idea how to market. So can you give like the brief explanation of the how to test the creative ads, right? Yeah, and how to use the metric, or where you get the metric, and how do you calculate them to get the IPM?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, every other ad network that you will be working on might have different creative needs. Let's say for TikTok, you will need more user-generated content because TikTok is something like that. If you have real person in that, it will be more likely to be successful. But for Facebook, it's different. For Unity ads or SDK networks like AppLovin, IronSource, it's completely different. So if you have enough time and enough money, you should be testing your creatives through every ad network that you are working with. But it will be really expensive. So you can choose one ad network to run your tests. On that matter, we prefer Facebook, Meta, because it both has Reels that is like TikTok, and they have Facebook and Instagram, which is like traditional social media, and they also have Facebook Audience Network, which is similar to SDK networks like IronSource and AppLovin. So you can run your tests on Meta, and you can get insights from all different kinds of ad networks. For testing purposes, we always use A/B testing method, which means on the A part, you have your best creatives before. On the B side, you are testing your new creatives, and you will, after a period of time, let's say 1 day, after a day, you will be checking the IPM metrics of these two groups. If your new creative has higher IPM than the control group, that means that creative is winning. So this is your winner creative. But if its IPM is not good, as good as the control group, that means that creative just failed. So you should keep going to find other creatives. About how you calculate IPM, you can calculate it by yourself because it's easy. You know install counts. You see install counts on Facebook, and impression counts on Facebook as well. So you can calculate it by yourself, or you can add a custom metric to Facebook dashboard. It's also possible. So you can create a field named IPM, and you can put the calculation to there. And after that, you can see this metric in your dashboard.
I see. Okay. So we also get the install count from the apps vendor, right? Apps provider. Okay. what is a good time period to test, right? How long that is already conclude all this? We already have enough time to get the IPM and let's move on, or when are you still waiting? What is the average time?
So we made some data analysis to that question to understand when we should end the test or when is the best time to understand if the creative is good or not. And we saw that if you have 100 installs per creative, that means now your IPM is stabilized and it will not be changing in the near future. But if you have only, let's say, 20 installs, your IPM value might be fooling you because, like, let's think about this theoretical situation. Your creative just shown to a single user only once, which means your impression is 1. And they decided to download your game, which makes your install count again 1. If you calculate it, your IPM is 1,000. But I'm sure that your creative will not be 1,000 IPM because it's the highest value. It's not possible. But then if another impression happens and they will not download your game, that means 2 impressions and 1 installs, which mean 500 IPM. It's really a huge difference between 1,000 and 500. So what we saw is if you hit at 100 installs, then that means your IPM is stabilized. Then you can trust that IPM value.
Oh, so you got it. So the benchmark is not how much days, right? But how until you get the 100 IPM off, 100 installs. I think it's very interesting. Okay, we also have question from Yoga. This is really fun, right? Yeah. How much money spent on the game, right? Yeah, just as I mentioned, and they also know how much budget they should prepare. Like if they have a casual, etc. Right?
I would say too much. It really depends on your genre. For hyper casual and hybrid casual, you mostly will be spending lots of money in a short period of time. Let's say you might be spending millions of dollars in just 1 week. It's possible because with hyper casual game, you need to bring as much as user you can in a shorter time, and then you will need to earn money from them, and most probably they will stop playing your game because it's a hyper casual game. So for hyper casual, it's something like this. But for casual games or maybe mid-core games, you need to spend your budget like in a longer term. You cannot spend your all money in a week, because if you do that and if there is a problem on your longer retention, let's say in year 1 retention, it will be really costful to your operations. But again, I unfortunately I cannot say the exact numbers. But what I can say is, if we have a profitable game, with thanks to the hyper casual, we don't have any maximum budget, because if we spend, let's say, $1 today, we will get that $1 in few days or maybe in a month. So theoretically, we have unlimited money because of the circulation of the money. So if we have a profitable game, then sky is the limit.
Also, okay, maybe for context, Mert, so everybody here, the people who join the incubation, they will get the money to test the UA, so they can guess the taste of the sending. But then at the grand final, there will be cash prize to help them to scale the game. We don't
Mhm.
give them money to spend, right? Because too big, right? Because it will be their job with the publisher, hopefully, right? So yeah, can you give me like what is the rough, like for the very beginner, when you are just starting the game, how much money you should prepare for marketing budget, and when you are scaling up to the big league, like yeah, I think just to guess,
Mhm.
give them the yeah, the image, like the picture.
Yeah, sure. So for the soft launch, or like the very beginning of your journey, you need to understand if your game is fun or not, or if people will play your game or not. So the main problem or main question should be, will I be profiting with this game or won't? So this is the main question. Will that game be profitable? So to understand that, you need to run some soft launch marketing strategies to understand if everything is good or not. And for that purpose, again, we see that you need to have 100 installs per day to to make the retention values or playtime values to be more understandable. Because if you have less installs, then these metrics are not trustable. So you need at least 100 installs per day. For the budget for that, it really depends on your genre. For hyper casual, your cost per install shouldn't be higher than $1, for example. $1 is really high, by the way, but let's say it's the highest point. Lower the CPI is like better for everyone, obviously. So if it's a $1, let's say you will need to run your testing phase for a week, maybe 4 days, 5 days, or maybe a week. Then you will need $700 for a testing phase. But again, it depends. If you have a game that's that generates a CPI lower than, or maybe 20 cents, if your CPI is 20 cents, then it will be cheaper than $700. So, or if you have a mid-core game or AAA game, CPI will be really high, around maybe $30, $50, even higher. So I don't have any know-how on how to test mid-core or AAA games, but I'm sure they have other like other things to do that testing. But for hyper casual, it's like that.
Okay, I get it. I think yeah, it gives a bit credit, like so it's a bit much, but yeah, I think yeah, everybody will be prepared, right, what to do. So I think the question is
Yeah.
that you are saying that during the testing we get 100 install in one USD, and then you find out whether your game is profitable or not, right? So how do you conclude whether your game is profitable or not, right? Is it like during the soft launch, do you already have the like all the monetization optimized, or yeah, how do you get also, or compare the marketing budget with the revenue budget, the revenue, or is there any kind of what they should do to?
So the process is you can predict the revenue that you will be generating from the users with some machine learning techniques, or some easier techniques like using the retention curve and your ARPDAU metric. You can calculate it, but it's not trustable because you are trying to predict something that's really hard. It's really hard to predict someone's revenue that they will be generating through ads. So for us, we are predicting if the game will be profitable or not, but this is not 100% trustable. So it just gives us an idea about the game. If it says like you will be profiting with this game in 7 days, let's say, that gives us an idea about, okay, this game might be really profitable. Let's add some monetization to that game, add some interstitials, rewarded banners, add some IAPs to the game, and run another round of tests to see if it's really happening or not. So we will try to understand the profitability of the game with real life. Like we are trying to see, okay, we are spending that much money, earning that much money. Okay, that's profitable. But at the first phase, if our prediction says that, oh God, no, this game will not be profitable in a year or so. Its metrics are really low, retention rate is really low, playtime is low. So if the prediction says really bad things about the game, then we stop working on that game, because that means that game will not be profitable. So it doesn't make sense to work on that game. So the short answer, use some predictions methods to understand a bit more about your game. And the prediction says good things about your game. Just add real monetization to your game and see yourself if it's profiting or not.
So when you first like test to get the metric, you don't need to already have the monetization, right? But only when it's potential, then you put. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because if we launch and already with monetization, I think it will be too much work for the team. So how much money or time that you try after you get like the, okay, we already have the metric from the like the 100 install for 1 week, right? How much time do you and how much money do you try to, let's put it this much money, and for how long to, okay, this is already profitable, like in general, like the real testing, how much is the real testing folks?
Actually, the real testing costs the same as well, because again, you need at least 100 installs per day, and your CPI shouldn't be changed that much after adding some monetization to your game. So every test phase costs similar with each other, because again, you are trying to test if your game is gonna be profitable or not, and the only need that the only thing that you need is at least 100 installs per day. So testing costs should be same with that phase as well.
So you're saying like the marketing budget is like the creative, the IPM from the creative and the CPI, right? So do you wait until you get like the good IPM before spending more money to the marketing, or is it like, yeah, this is good enough, let's go on?
Actually, if we are if the operation is profitable at the moment, we keep spending money, but we also try to find better creatives with better IPMs at the same time. So
it's parallel,
but
right?
yeah, but if our operation is not profitable, then we are not spending money, because there are some cases that let's say you have a game, a hyper casual game, and its IPM is, your creative's IPMs are really, really high. It's like crazy high, but the game is not profitable. So it's possible as well.
Oh, really?
Because people just like the idea of the game, so they click and install the game. But when they got into the game, they see that, okay, it's not that much fun, so I will not play the game. So that makes the game unprofitable.
I see. So that's very interesting. Okay. Anyone on us? I think also another question for me. So, how much iteration and testing do you like in your experience, like until you get like the good ads with high IPM? Like, is it like every 10 you get one, or yeah, what is the normal experience for you to get like experimenting to get the good creative ads with good IPM?
I would give lots of money to get an answer to that question. For Fashion Battle, it took around 3 weeks to get a really good IPM creative. But for our latest game, Drill and Collect, it took 1 week or so. It really depends. But with the experience you get with creatives, both you and your team, you are going to have some like tips and tricks, as I mentioned before on my presentation. Like we weren't using a real hand pointer in our creatives, like maybe 2 years ago. But then we find out that using a hand image like this is increasing our IPM. So for our next game, we started with using these hand image with our creatives. So I believe it always shortens with your experience increase. But at least I don't have any exact answer to that question.
Very good. Okay, we already at the end of our session. I think I can have one more question to the audience before we close this. Calvin, do you have question? Usually, Calvin is the one with the.
Oh yeah, I've been raising hands like a couple times now. So wait, let me check.
Oh,
So
I didn't see.
yeah. So what is like the typical budget for for marketing? Let's say for for ads. Let's say in one day you get $1,000, and how much would you spend the next day for the marketing at the initial?
So it's always safe to start with small budgets, like the rule that 100 installs per day. It's a good start point for your operations. For us, actually, I mentioned before, technically our marketing budget is infinite, because if our game is profitable, we will be getting more money than we spend in a month. So we don't need to think about our marketing budget. So if we have a profitable game, we can spend $1,000 per day, $100,000 per day, even millions dollars per day, because we know that we will be earning that money back, more than that money back. That is the case for hyper casual and hybrid casual. I know that for mid-core games, they have a specific budget for their marketing purposes, because their payback period is much longer than ours. Let's say they spend $1,000 today, and they will get that 1,000 back in 1.5 years, for example. So they don't have unlimited money as we do. So if you have hyper casual game, hybrid casual, you should always start with small amounts per day, like 100 installs per day, which can mean $100 per day or $50 per day. It depends on your CPI. Then, like, if you see a good ROAS with your campaigns, marketing efforts, then double it. For example, let's try to bring 200 installs per day. And if it's still profitable, maybe double it again, or like add some budget to it. So it's always safe to like go with baby steps. Not it's really hard to like predict a game that it will be like really profitable. Oh, okay, this game will be profitable, then let's spend $1 million per day. It's really hard to say that. So you need to go step by step with your budget.
Last questions.
Sure.
Since it is about effective ads and we have very limited times.
The left one. Because I will mute it. Because this is annoying. Because it says he is going to propose, but we are dressing our model with pajamas. It's annoying. It's a failing video because it's gonna fail. We cannot do it. It's really basic. This is our gameplay video, so there's nothing complicated in this creative. And at the end of it, a simple end card and call to action button saying, oh, we failed, now you can try it. It makes people think that, okay, these guys are idiots, they cannot play the game, so now I will try my chance and I will do better than you. So this is a good example of a good creative, because we see the like outcome. You can also see the outcome here. So this is a good creative. There is no doubt on this.
Okay, so basically annoying the audience to get their
Yes.
attentions and then close it with CTA.
Yeah, but you should always be careful about the annoying level, because we have tried a creative named Church in the US. It was really similar to this. Our character was supposed to go to the church, but she was not dressing appropriate for church. So it was really successful in the US, but in Latin America, it was a huge failure for that creative, because especially in, let's say, Brazil, people didn't react well to this humor. So you should always be careful about the annoying level. It might work in some countries, but it might not work in some countries.
Okay, so the human touch that you mentioned, you should add human touch so that the audience can bond with your ads. It's like that, that finger that you put
Yes.
in the, okay.
Yes, this is a human factor, and also there is a voiceover which is reading the text in the screen. So these are human factor. There are more human factor in the second one, actually. So it's not, I cannot say that if you use human factor, you will be successful. I cannot say that, because the right one has all the humans in it, but it didn't succeed. But yeah, so again, the same thing, you need to try different ideas, different annoying topics, different failure scenarios, different human factors.
Okay, thank you, Mert.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you for Kavin, and sorry I didn't see that you were said previously. Okay, thank you, Mert, for coming to the session. Hopefully, the session gives a lot of insight for everyone here, and hopefully you can create your own creatives. And yeah, if you are not finding it, keep trying, right? Because that's the first thing that Mert said. Okay, thank you, Mert. Okay, let's give applause to Mert for his session. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mert.
It was great to be here.
Thank you so much, Mert,